Howdy everybody and welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here once again, and I've got another Napoleonic Total War 3 mod replay for you guys today. But before we go ahead and get into that, I just want to remind everybody I am sponsoring a Napoleonic Total War 3 mod tournament. It will be a 4 versus 4 tournament with the first prize of $100, and I'd also like to interview the winning team. So if you're interested in that or you'd like to send me any replays, go ahead and send something to TheCastGamingChannel@gmail.com or head to the description box below. Click the link to my Discord. My email address is there below. We'll get you going. I'd like to get about 6 to 10 teams together as soon as I can, and I'll get everything started. And lastly here, do not forget, if you like what I'm doing here, go ahead, like the video, subscribe, and comment below and share with your friends. I'd greatly appreciate help growing the channel. So with that, let's get into today's replay. It's going to be 4v4 on, I believe the map is Prussia 5. An odd map, I have not seen it before, but for the first army today on the Imperial faction, it's going to be Iran, followed by the Swiss for army number 2. Followed by the army of King Joseph, France, España. And lastly, France Orient. And for the coalition today, let's go across the way. I know you guys enjoy my rhyme schemes. Netherlands is going to be the first army for the coalition today, followed by Helder Expedition. We'll see if I can find the other two. Portugal is going to be army number 3 for the coalition, followed by the United Kingdom 1812 army. So as for the tactical breakdown on this map, it's a pretty difficult map. It's a pretty big map. The coalition starts out in an echelon type formation for their starting points, whereas the Imperials start out with a forward spawn point followed by the rest of their armies spawning in the back of the map. I recommend, if you're the Imperials, doing exactly what the Swiss are doing right now, which is taking this point closest to them, giving them the full or giving them the higher point advantage at the start. There's also this excellent hill to place some artillery upon. You're protected from cav charges on your flanks due to the rivers and lakes. There's also this house here which helps in the defense. And there's also this great road that you have access to bring up your armies quickly. And since the coalition starts out in an echelon formation, as I was saying, take that center point as the Swiss, move up your armies as France Orient, a little bit farther, move up your armies as the army of King Joseph, and get them into line as quickly as possible. You see that the coalition is already starting out here as the United Kingdom and Portugal. What you can actually do is have France Orient come and attack Portugal in this section, where France Orient could actually extend its line, and if it can't get into line quickly enough, the España and France Orient could start engaging these two initial armies. Have Switzerland, or the Swiss, send some reinforcing units to outflank the United Kingdom, help them in the fight, since the Swiss have the superior defensive position they can hold for some time. They're just a 5-pointer faction. Yes, that's true. However, they're actually extremely good in a line battle and will be able to hold for quite some time. And if I can find your other option, if you don't want to have the Swiss come around, is have Iran come support any potential attack against the coalition on the Imperial right flank. Maybe even divide Iran's army and have them come up to support Switzerland's flank, or the Swiss flank on the left side here. You can see this land bridge dividing the bodies of water, and then have the other portion of Iran come up and support against the United Kingdom and Portugal. Now, if you're the coalition today, I recommend avoiding the center position at all costs. I know Switzerland is or the Swiss are a lighter point faction, but they're going to get some artillery on this high ground. It's going to be difficult for you to take. There's also this house here. You're not going to be able to outflank them. You have to push in the center, and if they have additional reinforcements, it's just going to be that more difficult. There is, on the right flank, a possibility of trying to outflank on the far right side. You can go around these and try to get through this land bridge. But that's going to take way too much time. Your armies are going to be engaged on the left and center way too long for you to outflank Switzerland, especially if the Imperials leave a guard on that flank. So the only other option is to try and attack the Imperials on this left side. Try and get around France Orient as best you can, or try and pin España down. Try and get some troops across this land bridge, or funnel some more from this bottom section. But as I said, do your best to try avoid this defensive position. You can try and punch through a hole through the Swiss, since they were 5-pointer faction, but I've said it a couple times already. I don't recommend it because of the defensive position. Iran's going in for a charge on some out of position Netherlands units. Not going to be able to do too much damage. See if we can get an idea of what Portugal is trying to do. Now, Portugal is doing what I had suggested, is they're trying to get around the flank of France Orient. I think that's a smart move. Have UK follow up here if they can through this little land bridge. Joseph is funneling over some units in support, but France Orient does not appear to really see Portugal coming on this side. They'll catch them unaware. But the attack is going to need some more support. The United Kingdom needs to get its armies in line. It'd be actually extremely helpful if the United Kingdom could throw some cav this way against these units of Joseph. I think only a couple of them can form square. Might actually be able to take these cav units as well. However, the United Kingdom could actually just all-out assault this position. And the reason I say this is because Joseph is sending reinforcements over to attack Portugal. Now, Portugal could delay its advance, fall back, while the UK starts pressuring España here. I'm just kind of using the army of Joseph as España. I don't remember the term, but I'm just switching out the term, so if I'm confusing you guys, I apologize, but it's essentially the same army. I'm just switching out the verbiage. There is this artillery piece. They're going to want to try and take it out as quickly as they possibly can if they've got some more cav to spare or some more artillery of their own. Got this 7-man cav unit, good for scouting. I'm sure it's really cheap, and vice versa for this España unit. Some more Joseph armies getting in a line. Joseph's going in for a cav charge against that smaller unit. Swiss still not engaged yet. Netherlands is coming into line formation, trying to get all their men together. You need to fold your cav back, guys. Get them across the way. They're just going to take unnecessary fire from Netherlands. The other option is to get them into the lines of Netherlands, but I don't recommend a frontal charge, especially with additional cav here. But other than that, you need to fall them. You need to fall all this cav back. Netherlands actually has an opportunity to come across this land bridge here and outflank the Swiss. However, it's going to take a lot of time for them to do that. But they do have the option of coming over to support their ally Joseph, which is what I had mentioned. All right, I'm sorry. They do have the option. Netherlands has the option of coming over to support their ally, United Kingdom, which is what I recommended Iran should do for Joseph. So, good catch on the opportunity there, Netherlands. Portugal has engaged France Orient. Got some battles going. I think Portugal should have extended its lines just a little bit. It doesn't look like France is very organized yet. Need to get them better lines so that they can attack. Oh, it looks like Portugal's harassing them on this left side. Might even be able to rout this France Orient unit. And there they go. Good job on the Portugal cav charge. You've got some additional dragoons you could charge into this France Orient unit. And France on the side looks like it's extremely disorganized. It's not reacting well. Portugal, charge your guys in. Charge them in. No, don't run away. You could have gotten them out of the... before they went in the square formation. Well done on Portugal on the side. Wrapping up France Orient. France Orient's a very good faction. Especially when you're in the mid to low tiers. Good job for France Orient bringing up some more extra units here. Wrapping around the flank of Portugal. And this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to commit your units piecemeal like this. France kind of needs to be... If he's going to get these units engaged, they need to be engaged in the full line battle here, or they need to retreat to defeat this army in detail because his army is getting defeated on this left flank. Probably going to crumple very quickly. United Kingdom is pushing up more towards the center here. Let's see if we can get a nice volley from the United Kingdom because they're just taking fire from Hispania. Bam! Well done. Good volley there from the United Kingdom. Cav charge from both sides in the middle of the line battle. We'll see who comes out on top here. It does not look like the army of Joseph is faring very well against this. And of course, just as I say that, the United Kingdom cav breaks. And the UK is going to be hard pressed to fight against Joseph here if they don't do anything about this artillery battery, as long as the artillery is able to take some good shots onto the flanks. However, it doesn't look like they're firing at them, so maybe UK's got a little bit more of a chance than I originally anticipated. Let's check the center here. It looks like the Swiss has left a rear guard against Netherlands, which is a good idea. However, they're not going to be able to hold out forever, so that means their allies have to do something, and they have to do something very quickly. Joseph, morale is shaky on these center units here. Be careful this cav doesn't take unnecessary fire. I don't like to see artillery right on the lines. This cav right here could easily charge. It's doing some good damage against this line unit, though, taking some canister shot. Just be careful that you protect this unit, Joseph. It's going to be the thing that's going to help against the United Kingdom. France is folding on this side. And I don't like to see this. I don't like to see this. It's good that they're retreating to keep their army intact. If they were going to engage Portugal in such a sloppy fashion, they should have done it closer to the house. Joseph has a unit which he here not doing anything, should have been used to move up to support this army here. Joseph either should be putting his extra units into the fight or helping out his ally. UK is having to retreat due to this artillery, and this is what I'm talking about. Artillery can be your saving grace if you use it effectively and you protect it. I know some people argue that artillery isn't damaging enough, but I disagree with that. And my disagree with that is that it's forcing the United Kingdom on this side to fall back. Joseph on the side could be pushing up its units. You see the morale's low from the United Kingdom on this side. And they need to defeat them quickly. Oh, holy cow. What the heck happened here? Netherlands is retreating. Maybe Switzerland pushed up its infantry units to get some flanking fire. I'm not sure. Just be careful. There is some artillery here from Netherlands that you might take some fire from. But now that I go on the ground a little bit closer, it looks like Netherlands doesn't really have a shot. Netherlands should reposition this artillery to the left of this house and start firing into the Swiss on this side, or they can fire into the flank of Swiss on this side. A Helder expedition is finally coming up, and this is what I had talked about not maneuvering on this right side, about how I didn't like the thought of maneuvering my army on this right side if I was the coalition, because it's taken a lot of time for them to come up. Helder expedition is just now getting some units to the front. They're just now positioning some artillery. They're just now supporting Netherlands in the center. And I think Netherlands should actually fold its armies to the left, push the Swiss on this side, and in the center section. There's this gap right here, which they could funnel some troops into. And if you reposition your artillery, it's going to help you win the battle on this side. Meanwhile, Helder Expedition should engage Iran in the center section. They'll probably be better in the fight against Iran. Meanwhile, Netherlands will get some extra reinforcements to make a push in this gap. The United Kingdom is being bent back. You should be a little bit more aggressive with your units, in my opinion, Joseph. There's some Swiss cav here. I don't know if there are any extra cav units from the United Kingdom, but now might be a good time to start pushing to see if you can get any extra artillery or damage units on the side. I like to see France doing a good job here, falling back, not engaging Portugal, especially if they cannot win. Still, they need to start being more aggressive in the center here. You've got some extra cav. You probably have the advantage on this side. Start aiming your artillery against the United Kingdom. This is... Be careful, Swiss. Be careful. Had Netherlands been paying attention, it could have easily pushed off its infantry. Got a lot of shots on you unnecessarily. And Swiss, look at this. Swiss are going in for what I think is going to be a charge against these Netherlands guns. And this is... If they do it, this is what I talk about all the time. Every match, you're going to hear it from me. Look at this charge. Swiss caught Netherlands sleeping. Went in for an infantry charge. They're going to be able to hit these guns. Netherlands, if they don't lose them outright, they can't reposition them any longer. And there goes the Netherlands artillery. Well done. Well done, Imperials. This is just another example in the history books for why I tell you guys not to position your artillery on or in front of your lines and to protect it. Because one infantry charge here is enough to take out these guns. Yes, there was some extra infantry here, but they were not close enough to support. Well done. Well done. That's going to be extremely helpful for the defense of this center position. If I was a Helder expedition, I probably would have put these guns a tad closer to get and on the crest of the hill to get some better flanking fire against Iran. Helder expedition has a rear guard here. It looks like it's not really committing. It looks like it's funneling most of its troops into this center position. It's probably a better thing that they do. It would take them even more time to get around this position. Plus, Iran has some additional units on the side. Probably not going to win the fight here. Again, good job on France Orient on just continuing to retreat, reforming its line, maybe taking a few shots off on Portugal, and then retreating if it starts getting into trouble. This is how you do it. Some people call this kiting. I call this a tactical retreat. Either way, France Orient is doing a good job holding Portugal at bay, giving time for its allies to defeat the United Kingdom. I don't know where this extra... be careful. Be careful. It looks like you were almost firing in your own lines. Maybe that was the artillery on this flank. And now it looks like Swiss has woken up. They're going to go in for a charge on some United Kingdom units. Maybe, I guess not. They're just holding them in the position. Clumping up. This would be a perfect clump for the artillery to attack. Suisse is holding extremely well. Getting some... It looks like if I was Netherlands at this point, I might just retreat against the Swiss, have Helder Expedition abandon this position with me, along with the Swiss, and just go across the center position, hit Joseph in the side. Swiss and Iran would have to follow you. They would have to. There's no way Joseph and France Orient could take both the combined might of 4 armies. There's just no possibility. The United Kingdom's in trouble at the moment. They're just trying to get their artillery hits in. It might be a good idea for the United Kingdom to shift these units to the other side if they don't take too much fire. Be careful, Swiss. You're just taking unnecessary fire from this turned United Kingdom infantry unit. However, I can understand micro is not exactly my personal strength. Well done on France Orient. Looks like they might have routed some Portugal units, or they see an opening here. They see an opening. They've turned some infantry here to engage, get the local superiority on this unit so that these 2 or 3 units can fire at this lone unit if they push them up. Got some Portugal units engaged here against with a lone France Orient unit that is getting some reinforcements from Joseph. I don't know why Portugal is retreating. It has the superiority here. It probably could have routed this unit in addition with this cav, which is not being thrown into the fight. I'm not really sure. This unit can't form square, nor could this unit have formed square. Missed opportunity. Helder Expedition on the far right, still not really doing anything, just holding Iran at bay. This is a mistake, falling back your infantry like this. You're being divided from your army. I don't recommend this. Netherlands is falling back. Again, there's still a possibility to overtake the Swiss on this side. And this is what this is what I'm telling you about the Swiss as well. Swiss is a tough army to break. They're just a 5-pointer, but they can stay in a line battle, especially with a good defensive position. Not to mention just the importance of a good high ground or a good defensive position. Some more engagement here from Joseph in the United Kingdom. And it looks like the United Kingdom has opted to get some flanking fire on France Orient, which is not necessarily a bad maneuver here, but it could be better suited to helping against the army of Joseph. Joseph's army looks like the numbers are dwindling here. You still got some reserves. You still got an intact army here. It might be better to crumble the flanks while you're able to. Or your other options, as I pointed out earlier, is to take these extra units, extend them against the flank of Joseph, try and take out this artillery. That's really what you need to do. I don't see any additional cav from the Imperials, so take this light dragoon unit, charge it into this horse artillery. It does not appear to have much protection, except maybe against this now coming up C7 cav that's been damaged, but your dragoons, your light cav is probably superior at this point. Good charge here from the Swiss against this light infantry unit. Netherlands is not faring very well, and now Helder Expedition is cut off. Helder Expedition is cut off with these encroaching Iran units. It's not looking good. Check backing over here. France Orient is routing. Oh, this giant general unit is routing. That's not going to be good. Portugal, push up your infantry against the flank of France. Push these guys closer. Push them closer. Get them right on the side right here, at least at an angle. Don't just leave them here. Well done for Portugal. He's got his artillery behind the lines here, getting some shots off on the Imperials. Excellent positioning. I like to see that. If he's getting some shots on this square formation, even better. Oh, no, looks like he's targeting something else. He should really be charging or getting his artillery into the square formation. Portugal, push up your guys. Push them up more. You're not doing them any good against France here. Start pushing up your artillery. You can hit the flank. Oh, no. No, your artillery is about to get charged. Oh, that's an unfortunate break. Joseph is not looking good on the side. Now's the time for the United Kingdom to start pushing against the army of Joseph on this side. Continue to retreat your units on this side. If you have any cav left, throw them at this gun battery, this horse artillery. It'll buy you some time at least. Now, the Netherlands is getting outflanked, and this is hurting me. Netherlands had so many units at the start of this match. They could have taken on the Swiss, but they just did not position their men well enough. They lost their artillery battery. It's very disheartening to see. Again, with the gun batteries on the line, I get it's on an elevation, but you could have stuck them a little bit farther back. Not to mention, if you're going to have any hope of fighting against the Swiss, your artillery is going to be the thing that's going to save you. You want to protect it. Sometimes I feel like a broken record, but I see the mistakes in nearly every single match that I play or that I watch. If people just do not reposition their guns effectively, they don't protect them effectively. It's very frustrating to see. We've got some routing units from Joseph in the center. Joseph's armies are not, they're consolidated at the moment. They're not strung out, so they're probably not going to be able to get as much fire as they could against the United Kingdom. United Kingdom needs to be aggressive. They need to push the flank if they're going to attack. But unfortunately, it looks like they're not very strong. They're engaging. They're staying too long in the center here. They need to retreat these units. Continually fall back. Repositioning the units. This attack might run out of strength or might run out of gas if Portugal does not push up quickly. If it has any artillery left, that's going to be the thing that's going to help them win this. And that second artillery piece might have been routed. Nope, here it is. My bad. They need to limber these guns up, and then they need to move them to the front. Engage against Joseph and France Orient while your UK is engaged. Bend the side of your flank back, UK, so you don't take as many losses from morale. Maybe help your your men move up. Also, move these reinforcing militiamen up to help out your flank. We'll see. Helder Expedition has fallen back again. There's still this gap here. I don't know if the guns were taken out or not. Now the Swiss, these factions here, Iran and Swiss, are being smart. They're falling back the units. They're not overextending themselves. They're going back to the high ground to protect. You could even probably peel off a couple units to help rout the United Kingdom if you really wanted to. However, the UK looks pretty banged up on the side, although they're not out of the fight yet. France is going in for a bayonet charge. Probably a little bit futile. Yes, there they go. They've broken, unfortunately. Portugal's chasing off some routing units here. Probably do not want them to return. I can understand. I don't know if the United Kingdom lost their artillery. Maybe it was charged at some point, but that was going to be the thing that was going to help them. Good job, Joseph. Limbered up your artillery, but you need to reposition. Don't forget about it. It would be extremely helpful on this right flank against Portugal. back another look at the center. I feel like I'm just rubber banding here, going back and forth, but okay. Netherlands still has their artillery. Needs to be repositioned once again. It needs to be continually repositioned so that you can get the best firing position and firing solution on your targets as possible. Portugal is slowly pushing up with the United Kingdom. UK is trying to potentially reform its line. Just continue to bend back, guys. Do not engage Joseph. Try and get your guys out of the damaging artillery if you can. Or while this artillery is distracted by firing at Portugal, you could be a little ballsy and try and charge this gun battery. It would be extremely helpful for getting rid of the army of Joseph. There's a couple extra units here in the back. This 100, well, both of these units should probably at this point be pushed up to help Portugal in the fight. Portugal has some additional units here in the back, which maybe it forgot about. Is that gun artillery? Where is that gun artillery? Did they move it up? Okay, here it comes. Well done. Glad to see that you still have that gun emplacement. Move that artillery up, get into the line. Helders is going back for another attack on the Swiss lines. I'm not sure what he's hoping to accomplish. They failed already on this, trying to take this hill or trying to take this defensive position. I'm not sure why they're trying to go back. It could potentially be them trying to pin Swiss down in the center in order for the Netherlands to come up and fire some additional, get some additional volleys into these Swiss units. Now that the Swiss are falling back, Netherlands, you need to follow up with this. You need to push your armies forward, catch them going across the river, push up all of your infantry, push it all up. Or you could outflank them on this side. Outflank them on this side, push your units up. Let Helder, what's left of Helder, deal with what's left of Swiss in the center. Move your entire army against Swiss on this side. And then you could go help out your allies here. Portugal is retreating. I don't really know why, unless they don't think that they can win against the army of Joseph. They have a gun battery still. I suppose it's because they fear some extra units. They fear Iran, but unfortunately, Portugal, you're cut off from the rest of your armies. You're not of any help to anyone at this point. You need to link up with your allies somehow or retreat. United Kingdom is still holding its ground. They probably just don't see any hope. These are probably their two remaining units from the United Kingdom, so the rest of the battle here is just basically Swiss and Helder expedition with some of Iran against what's left of Netherlands. And I'm actually surprised to see Swiss. The Swiss are kind of folding on this left side. Looks like Netherlands went in for a cav charge, which is what caused the routing on this side. But I don't like taking these. I personally don't like taking these big defensive positions. Helder expedition is moving up. It's able to get some morale shocks on some of these line units. However, it's taking some morale hits of its own. But that's a pretty cool looking unit. I like the hats. What do you call them? Bicorn hats. Netherlands is continuing to push up. I think this is kind of a waste. I think you guys are going to take too many losses storming the point. Netherlands, try not to engage against the Swiss with your line infantry in a frontal assault. Just have them try and hold Swiss in place so that they have to attack you, and then pin them with the local superiority, which you are doing correctly on this left side. Swiss has to retreat. And then once Swiss starts retreating, you can push up your infantry to take some shots into the flanks or into the back. Now Swiss is actually running these units, so it's going to tire them out, which means that you're going to be able to go after them. You're going to be able to chase them effectively. And the reason I don't recommend storming this side is because you're just taking morale hits. Your units are taking losses and they're taking morale hits against a superior defensive position. It's just not, it does not look like it's going well. The two units here are routing simultaneously. Now there's this big gap here. If there's any cavalry, it could be used to exploit this gap here. Helder Expedition is falling back, and this is just one more example of why I tell you to take the high ground, why I tell you to take the superior defensive positions if you can, because when you get attacked like this, even if your army is a lower tiered faction, the high ground will help you immensely. The better defensive position will help you immensely. Helder Expedition sent some grenadiers in this house. Unfortunately, there's a general unit with some Swiss grenadiers already in place. I don't think they're going to be able to take this. Iran and Helder Expedition trading blows here. Iran, you could probably even do to fall back a little bit, get some higher elevation on the hill, since the Swiss control the house. It's unlikely that Helder Expedition is going to be able to take it at this point. This is something Netherlands should have been doing a lot sooner in this map. Had they done that, they would have been able to swing all of their units here over to help the United Kingdom and Portugal against Joseph and France. Helder Expedition realizing it's probably not going to win in this line battle. Another unit retreating. Low morale for a couple more units for Helder Expedition. And the Swiss still have the hill. They still got it. And, oh, Joseph is charging in some cav against Netherlands that were caught not in square. Oh, and it looks like the majority of units on this side, or at least half of this army, has been rolled up from this cav charge. And it's probably going to get the rest of it. Swiss still trading back and forth. This gun emplacement, this artillery battery is taking some hits. The morale's lower. It might rout, actually. And there it goes, just as I say it. There just is not much left for Netherlands and Helder Expedition. It looks like Helder Expedition tried to go around the flank here, and they got wrapped up. Unfortunately, Portugal is pretty much the last man standing. Netherlands is going to be defeated here in just a moment. I don't foresee a comeback here. And I forgot about these extra Helder Expedition infantry and these gun emplacements. Or I'm sorry, this 6-pounder foot artillery. I forgot about that. Unfortunately, that didn't play much of a factor. It might have been more helpful if there was a 12-pounder on that side. Portugal retreating once again. It's not really been that helpful. It did a good job initially against France Orient, but however, it could not come to its allies' aid in time. Swiss is actually folding in the center. I'm actually surprised to see this. But it's a little bit too little, too late. Netherlands. Swiss still has some units over here. There's some extra cav from the army of Joseph. And you're taking some hits against what I'm assuming is some elite Swiss infantry. You can see the morale across the way just dropping. There goes a unit on the far flank. There goes unit number 2. This route shortly thereafter. All Swiss has to do is take these units, come across the flank, hit Netherlands, continue to hold the hill, and there's not really anything Netherlands can do about it. Helder expedition retreating. Getting some good shots off on this Iran cav. Looks like this Iran cav was probably going after the general unit. Let's see if it'll be able to rout it. Godspeed, Frederick of York and Albany. And they got this general unit. Not that it matters much. Helder Expedition is pretty much defeated except for the units that it has here. Netherlands is now completely routed. Portugal is retreating. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to the end. Good game to everybody. It was an Imperial win today. So, today's replay was sent in by Stan, and he was playing as Swiss, and he had 1,683 kills. Napoleon Bonaparte was playing as France Orient. He had 636 kills. The letter S, which reminds me of Sesame Street. Today's replay was brought to you by the letter S, when in reality it was brought by Stan. But the letter S was playing as Iran, and he had a total of 1,032 kills. And Pier 97 was playing as the army of Joseph, France España, with 1,987 kills. For the coalition today, Sir Francis was playing as Portugal with 2,722 kills. Comrade Mr. was playing as the United Kingdom with 959 kills. Mastro Tripoli was playing as Netherlands, and he had 735 kills, along with Rister Robot playing as Helder Expedition with a total of 522 kills. We'll go to the kill count here. For the Swiss army was this line unit with 161 men. He had a total of 270 kills. Not bad. So I went down the list for you. Once again, good game to everybody. Keep those replays coming. Really appreciate you guys checking out the channel, like, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. Don't forget about signing up for the tournament, and I will catch you guys on the next one.